Journal podcast. Thank you for joining me today. This was, I think, the 10th time I tried starting this. For whatever reason, the music file had a glitch in it, so I had to re-download it. After a few cuss words, here we are. Check us out at ShelbyRoweProductions.com or on Instagram at ShelbyRoweProductionsLLC. Find us on Apple. Please give us a rating and a review. That'd be awesome. I would appreciate it. Today's going to be an interesting topic because I want to talk about how overthinking social media can be and content in general. This has always been an issue with me, really in anything. And that is overthinking stuff, getting an idea, and following down that path, right? You go down that path and this idea blossoms into something else, and then it grows from there, and then it zigs and it zags. But my issue is always when I update something, having to re-update everything in the past. So that's one problem. But also I get paralysis on scheduling, how things look, and just in general, overthinking to the point where I feel like I want to just stop because it becomes such a headache. And let's face it, social media is a necessary evil, content in general too. But if you go into it without any expectations, you will succeed at it. And by succeed, I mean consistent content flowing with hopefully engagement. But if you go into it expecting awesome engagement and clients because of it, then you might be disappointed. Plenty of people do it well and get all that engagement and get traction with people out in the marketplace that will then turn to that specialist or that expert and hire them for whatever it is they're talking about. But the far majority of the time, it's like punching in the dark. You try your best. You try to figure out the best ways to use Instagram, best ways to use Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. They all have their own vibe. Right now, Instagram is Reels, right? What's going to be the next thing in 6 months? You know, when is Instagram going to throttle down the views and analytics, or reach rather, on Reels to then push you to the next thing? Because I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'll post a reel that gets several thousand views when yet my Instagram account only has like 350 follows. What's up with that? And those several thousand views will yield maybe a dozen likes, 0 follows, 0 comments. Seems a little hinky to me, but I digress. So there's number one, overthinking, right? Of expectations. I came into this podcast without those expectations, and I still don't, and I'm still enjoying this. It's the promotion of that I'm starting to overthink. The first thing I did was automatically assume that I needed a separate brand new Instagram page for this podcast. Why? Because my OCD likes right angles, rows, columns, round numbers, everything separated, compartmentalized. So I decided to create an Instagram account called at the Producer's Journal. And my approach was to promote episodes via Reels. And I would just try to, in 10 to 15 seconds, sometimes up to 30 seconds, give the viewer of said reel a quick synopsis of what that episode is about, with my half-ass attempt to add blinking lights and new episode up and click here for this, and just all this stuff that you see on a reel, or at least I feel like needs to be on there. So again, overthinking on that. And it turns into my face with 3 different things flashing around it. So that's how I promoted. And then I had to figure out thumbnails. Okay, well, how does this work? And I'm pretty limited on graphic design. I had my graphic designer kind of help me build a template, so then I can change the episode number and title on the episode card, which becomes, the thumbnail for each episode. But then I also repurpose it for social media. And I figured out how to create it so it would be a good cover for a reel while still looking good in the grid. Took me a minute to figure that out. So now I was on a good flow there for a minute. Everything was great. Started building a few follows. I think it got up to 30 or so. I would then share that reel to the story, add the link in the story to then hopefully take them to the link tree, and you know the deal. Well, then all of a sudden I was like, man, why are you doing this on a separate platform when now your business platform at Shelby Road Productions LLC is dead? It's stagnant. You got several hundred follows on there. What I used to do is more educational content. I would interview people, other podcasters, other producers, let them be the star of the show, if you will. Pick stuff out of those interviews, create carousels and static images and audiograms, videograms, all very educational content. Top 3 this, top 5 that. And if you want to listen to, I think my first episode, maybe my second episode, go check it out. I talk about why I struggle with that kind of content and why I landed on this podcast as a story-based situation. Or like a journal, because I'm right now just winging it, talking about my recent struggle with content and social media. So now I'm like, oh, well, dude, you need to move this to your business account. And here's why, because whether it's story-based or straight up educational based, when you look at my thumbnails, it's still got a title on there that shows, oh, I'm going to learn something from this. And hopefully if they follow through and click this and click that and eventually get to the podcast and they realize, this guy's boring as fuck. Okay, great. But some people might like this. So let's get that on the business page, because if we're trying to now build expectations and try to garner clients through Instagram or any social platform, Instagram is really my main go-to. So that's why I reference it a lot. Well, you got to show authority, right? You have to show that you're the expert in the room. Well, my business account is obviously being followed by a lot of producers and podcasters. So that's my audience. That's where I need this stuff to be at. So now I'm like, oh, okay, we got to make this happen. Now, here's some overthinking again. I refused to then all of a sudden just make that decision, and then episode 16 is kind of when I made that decision. I couldn't just all of a sudden now start promoting on my business account with 16 and then move forward. No. That's confusing, right? No one gives a shit, but I do. So no, what I have to do is make sure all 16 episodes now are on the new account or move to the business account. New for the podcast, but my standard business account. So then I figured out how to use, Facebook Studio or Meta Studio, whatever it is called. So then I could schedule on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. Yes, I have a business Facebook account that really just, kind of falls in line with the Instagram page, same posts. So now I can schedule out. So anyone that's listening to this that might be following my SRP page probably realized that I was pushing like an episode every 4 hours for like 4 days, 5 days, just to get it out there. And I didn't do reels. I just did static image, little write-up, done, posted. So now that's catching up. Well, then I realized, oh man, now I got to update all the descriptions and show notes for my episodes in Podbean. So I had to do all that, all retro. And when I was scheduling the release of the episode cards on social media, that at that point too, I had to update all the show notes, and really didn't have to, but I felt like I did. Then I realized how the connection between Podbean and YouTube works. And I was trying to figure out, I hadn't gone, well, first off, yes, okay, let me go here. Shelby Rowe Productions has a YouTube channel. Now it's called Shelby Rowe Productions. When it first started, I think it was our SRP Podcasting, and it was where we put our full-length video episodes up and videograms in the shorts or whatever it was. So it was just like everything else. It was education-based, and it was about podcasting. Then I changed it to something else. It's another story. And then I brought it back to life for this podcast. And I was going to go back to it and start it as SRP again. So I created it as Shelby Rowe Productions. And now I'm going to clean it up and figure out what's going on. Well, when I went back to it, I realized that 4 of the, at that time, 15 episodes that I've published of this podcast landed on my YouTube channel. And Podbean automatically created a audiogram. I was like, wow, that's cool. I remember way back when connecting the two, but nothing ever came of it. I thought, whatever. Well, now stuff's starting to push through, and I'm like thinking, well, why only a handful? So then I Google and go to Podbean support and read up, and I realized, I don't have the Pro Unlimited package on Podbean, so I'm only allowed one a week that will automatically share to YouTube. And because of that, I was pushing a lot out with 3 days in between. There was a stretch where I was doing every day almost. So that's why a lot of them didn't kick over. Then I figured out how to download them. Then I'm like, oh, okay, now I have access to all of them. So let's download all of them and put them in their respective folders. Let's create new thumbnails based off of the thumbnail templates I already have. That took me forever because then I wanted to alternate colors and do different things. And I would upload the first 5 episodes manually, the first 5 audiograms up into YouTube. And then, I used yellow and blue and white as backgrounds for the right half section of the thumbnail. And then the SRP logo in blue and yellow. Well, we need to alternate colors. I can't have 2 episodes back to back with the white background. No. It's going to go white, blue, yellow, white, blue, yellow, and then the see where I'm going? So I'd go back and repair. Now, the good side of this is I want things to look good, and my OCD is what it is, and it does look good, I think. But the process is excruciating, but I will say eventually I land on something that's comfortable, and I will have that little system going until I change my mind again. So I eventually manually uploaded all of the audiograms, re-updated all the show notes, re-updated all the show notes in Podbean as well as I was going episode to episode. So now, if you listen to episodes prior to this one, you hear me talk about at Producers Journal on Instagram and on TikTok. And so you're going to hear me referencing those and pushing you to those. And those don't really exist anymore. So I updated all the show notes. So moving forward, anyone that's listening to this and has been following me on Instagram at the Producers Journal, come on, move on over to at Shelby Rowe Productions LLC. That's where everything's going to start moving forward. And at the Producers Journal is just going to fade away as things do. I think in the long run, I made the right decision. This is a little more streamlined. It's one less page to deal with, and it's adding activity to my business page, which is really where this stuff needs to be. You know, me and my team worked pretty hard to build up the following that we do have on there, because it is difficult building a following. So we have a decent one. It doesn't necessarily matter what the number is. You know, we want a good size audience, right? But it's the quality of your audience. And I know I have a lot of producers and podcasters out in my audience that might benefit from this content. So TikTok is gone. That's just I'm just not a fan. Trying to keep it simple. Used to be on LinkedIn, not dealing with it. So right now I'm just scheduling on Instagram and Facebook. And the amount of episodes I do here, I hate putting these things out there because I never want to make any promises, but I certainly can't do this every day because it just takes too much time to do the post-production and the scheduling of the content, pushing out all the promotion, making sure it syncs up with YouTube, all this stuff. So my goal is try to do 2 a week. That's my goal. No promises here, but I do appreciate you listening. There's a handful of you out there that do listen, and the download numbers right now are consistent episode to episode. So I seem to think that the mighty little audience I do have on this podcast right now are coming back. You maybe come check in every episode. I know the far majority of people do not finish episodes. They do not listen to the end. The retention rate is never 100%. But if you listening to this right now are one of the people that come back week to week, thank you. Spread the word. Go to my Instagram page at Shelby Rowe Productions LLC, Facebook at Shelby Rowe Productions, YouTube, Shelby Rowe Productions. Share, follow, subscribe, rate, review, all of the above. Would really appreciate it. So until next time, y'all, look, if you're overthinking something, like I am right now with this damn music, because I always forget to give the call to action over the music. Damn it. I'm not going to redo this whole episode because of that one thing. Promise. You know what's funny? I don't really overthink the editing on this. I don't do any internal editing. Ahs, rambles. I don't care. I do care about optimization, but I don't overthink that because I just don't have the time. But I do like having music involved, and I like playing it in real time because I want to pretend I'm like a hack DJ. But rule number one, you do call to action over music. There's one educational piece. The one thing you need to think about when playing music in real time. Call to action over music, not yelling at yourself for fucking up. Thanks, guys.